What's up, world? It's your boy, AJ the Black World Traveler. Today, this video is about black people who bragged about being Native American and having Indian in their blood are now 100% African. And what's crazy about it is that from the time I was born and even before that, dark skin was always teased. If you were a dark skinned kid and if you didn't have wavy hair or curly hair, you were considered ugly. Even just being dark in general, you were already... When you were a dark-skinned kid back in the days, if you had coarse nappy hair, basically, that was it was a symbol of being ugly. But if you had soft curly hair and you were dark-skinned, you were like, oh, people would say, oh yeah, you're cute for a dark-skinned guy, or you're cute for a dark-skinned girl. And the thing about it was so crazy is that all these black people are taking these DNA tests now, saying that they're from this African tribe and that African tribe, and in their DNA, they're showing damn near 90%, 100%. I mean, they'll show European blood and your African blood, but there's no Native American blood in your DNA. And the thing is so crazy about it, coming up, whenever you went to a black person's house, now I'm telling you this is what I know because I was raised in America. If you went to any black person's house and you went there and you started talking about the family, in our homes, when you go to the average black person's house, they always had a photo album, and they would show you, oh, this right here, see that lady right there. Now this was taken in 1920. That little girl right there is my great grandmother. That lady in the back with the long silky hair, that Native American, that's my great great grandmother, and that's my great great grandfather. He's Choctaw, she's Cherokee. Like everybody bragged about how they had Native American in their family, and they did. See the great-grandmother that was a little kid inside of the photo album that was standing behind her mother, which is your great-great-grandmother. She looked like her, she looked like the great-great-grandmother and the great-great-grandfather because those are her parents. And then you'll see some pictures where your grandmother, your great-grandmother be having a picture of your grandmother when she's little. That's how black people did it. You would see generations of the people. They would show you the relatives. So they're telling you this is your great-grandmother, this is your great-great-grandmother, she was Choctaw, Blackfoot, or whatever. They would tell them that. The ancestors and the elders didn't lie to the kids. They told us who we were. Then we go to the school system, they show you slavery, and all they show you is us being enslaved by white people. That's all they put in our history books in the class. But all them years, when you went to any black person's house that was born in North America, that was born here, not from the Caribbean or other places, they were born in North America, especially if they're from the South, they had Native American blood. You can look at it, you can break it down like you want to, but everybody black coming up in North America that was from the South had Native American blood, damn near all of us. And anytime you went to somebody's house, they always showed you the photo album. The photo album was the big staple in the black family. That's how a lot of times you would see who your ancestors looked like. And you would see these great and great grand uncles and you'll see all these pretty black people with this, pretty brown, really dark skin and brown skin. You might have a couple light skinned cousins. Okay, well, she's Creole, because if you were Creole, or if you was a black and Indian, but you were a fair skin or a brown skin, you were considered beautiful. But if you were dark skin, you were not considered beautiful. But if you had silky, soft hair, yeah, they'll be like, oh yeah, she got pretty hair, she's dark skinned. She's pretty for a dark skinned girl. And there's people that still think that way. There's black people right now that still say that, oh yeah, she got the good hair. She got the good hair. And she got that pretty skin, she got a pretty dark skin, but, I don't want to keep telling her that because I don't want to get to her head because she got the pretty girl. She's a pretty dark skinned girl. She's pretty for a dark skinned girl, he's handsome for a dark skinned boy. That's what we were raised up on. And so what gets me is that all these same black people who bragged about their Native American ancestors, now in 2020-21, they got these DNA tests. All these black people are getting DNA tests. Now they're all proven that they're from Africa, from this tribe and that tribe. And we were brought up in the black community in America. We were always told that Africans didn't like us. And what's the first thing you do when you say African? Oh yeah, they African too, but them Africans, they don't like us. They always said that. We always said that. The Africans don't like us. The thing about it, all these black people who's taking these DNA tests, getting online, talking about, oh yeah, I found out I went to 23andMe and found out that I'm just this, or they go to any of these DNA places. They're showing them that they only have, either they got European blood or they got African blood. You'll see a lot of them that say, oh yeah, well, you got 10% European, but then you might be 35% Congolese, 45% Nigerian. They'll have most of their bloodline would be African. Or it's always African and European, but you'll never see a DNA of a Native American. You'll never see that. But how in the hell you have a real Native American grandmother or great-grandmother that you know is your grandmother, because your great-grandmother look like they all look alike. And you look like them. And you know that's your grandmother and your great-grandmother, but then you take a DNA test and you have no Native blood. I have not seen one black person that took a DNA that showed they had Native blood. But you were raised by these people. Just your great-great-grandmother had your great-grandmother, which your great-grandmother had your grandmother, and you have photos of them as your great-great-grandmother was little or your grandmother was little. In black families, they'll show way back in the days to now. Y'all look exactly alike. But then you take a DNA test, you ain't got none of their blood. That's why the DNA is a hoax. There's no way in the world that you have all these people in your bloodline that you've been raised by for centuries. They've been like this for centuries. There's no way that you were basically born and you can track back your family history just in your photo book, and y'all look alike. And this is your biological great-great-grandmother and grandmother who have Choctaw, Blackfoot, or whatever tribe they're from, but you take a DNA and you ain't got an inch of that. Most black people in America that take DNA will never, ever see Native American in their bloodline on the DNA. But they can go to their family tree and see it. That's why I'm saying this thing is a hoax. You'll see like an actor, you see somebody just black, and they might have really, straight hair, whatever, and you'll see like, we always say, oh yeah, you got the high cheekbones. Well, are you Native American? They be like, yeah, my grandma was Choctaw. Like, we had an identity. Like, when we were black coming up, you could people would identify you by your cheekbones, by the way you were built. But most of your distinctive features is always your nose and your cheekbones. So if you ever seen a black person with like really high cheekbones and like an arched nose, they'd be like, yeah, you must be Native American. He'd be like, yeah, I am. That's what it was, like us coming up. That's what it was, And the thing about it, even in television, like all our popular actors and actresses back in the days, you notice all the main stars. The main stars were always light skinned or brown skinned. They were never dark skinned. Look at Dorothy Dandridge. Lena Horne. Those were our staple of beauty in the black community. Josephine Baker. Those are the people in our community that were considered beautiful. Harry Belafonte. Nat King Cole was considered a handsome man, but he was a handsome man with wavy hair. He's a dark-skinned man with coal black wavy hair. That's a symbol of Native American. Like you have, Choctaw or Blackfoot. That's always an identity that you had the bloodline because of your cheekbones and your hair or your build. That was always the symbolism of being Native American. And the thing about it, people can get on this channel and say, oh yeah, well you Israelites, bro, everybody black knows that. Anybody black in America, everybody always could go back and say, well, yeah, my grandmother was this, my grandmother was that. For some kind of tribe in the South, in the reservations. A lot of our people went through the trails of tears. A lot of our ancestors are freedmen. Still, there's a lot of black people in the South right now that were raised on reservations, that was raised Native American, that was actually raised in the culture. But since they have this some of these tribes have this colorism thing, where they kicked a lot of the blacks out. And then plus when they would change our names, our actual name from Negro to African American, every time they changed our identity as a race of people, that would change our entire existence. And so there's black people out there that's still fighting for their rights, to get their rights back, because a lot of them was raised on tribes. A lot of them speak the native language and everything. But now all these grandkids of these people who actually were in these tribes are now taking DNA, saying that they're damn near 100% African. How in the hell are the people that basically birthed you, you don't have none of their blood, and none of their blood shows up in your DNA test? Something's wrong with that. I guarantee you, because if anybody black is watching this movie that was raised in the United States, that was not from the Caribbean, they were from America, they know I'm telling the truth. They know I'm telling the truth. You can't get on here and say I don't know what I'm talking about, because everybody black knows that. Especially if you was raised in the 70s or beyond that, or even the 80s. Everybody black about their Native American heritage, you know. And hair texture played a part of everything. Your hair texture and your skin played a part of everything. If you was light skin or brown skin, if you was dark, like I said, if you was dark skin with really what they consider soft hair, people be still saying that, oh yeah, they got that good hair. That's what we used to say. They got good hair. Or ooh, you got that bad African hair. If your hair was nappy, ooh, you got that nappy hair, that old nappy African hair. They would tell you that. That's the people would say. You got that African hair, that old, you know, that old hard hair. Not even understand. All Africans ain't got nappy hair. A lot of Africans with beautiful hair. You know, and I think all hair is beautiful, no matter if it's nappy, no matter if it's straight. The thing about it, when it's more, of course, you can do more with it. When it's more thick like mine or thicker than mine, you can do more with it. When your hair is straight, you only limited. When your hair is curly, you only limited. But a person who has thicker hair can do a lot more. They can still straighten their hair out. See, black people are following trends. This is a trend. See, that we follow trends. We follow trends. I'm gonna tell you why we follow trends. Because when I was a kid, as a dark-skinned kid coming up, being dark-skinned, that was ugly. Especially you had nappy hair, which I think all our hair is beautiful. You were still considered ugly. And then what happened was that all these years you had that going on where, you know, if you were a certain complexion or a certain kind of hair texture, that was considered ugly. And then so what happened in these days when the brothers was going over to Germany and going over to Vietnam and going to these places like Thailand, these women would be down there breaking their necks to get to you. They'd be like, oh, you're so beautiful. You're a handsome young man. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I was 18 years old. The first time I went to Asia, I went to Thailand. It's like a third or fourth country I went to when I was in Asia. And that's the first time that I heard, oh my God, you're so beautiful. I walk off the ship. I'm walking down the street every couple of minutes. Hey, pretty chocolate. Hey, pretty chocolate man. Then they say, oh, you're so pretty. Can I touch your skin? They be like, oh my God, you're so pretty. Your skin's so soft. Ooh, you're so pretty. Women were actually flirting with me. Oh, you're pretty. Hey, pretty chocolate. And they were really flirting with me, like really attracted to me. I mean, I've had women come to me and like really like, oh my God, you're handsome. And I mean, be real. I mean, I was young. At 19, I met a girl in Thailand. She was a mixed Thai. She was Italian and Thai, and she came up to me and told me how beautiful I was. And she hung out with me. She wanted to hang out with me. You know, and we ended up kicking it that night. It was crazy. But she was like just mesmerized by me. She thought I was oh man, you're so beautiful. And I remember I was in Thailand, I met these two girls here from Australia. And the one girl, she was, I mean, I don't know what nationality she was, but she was from Australia. She was gorgeous. And she just thought she said, oh my God, you are such a pretty man. She said, wow, you are so beautiful. She said, you don't know how beautiful you are? This lady from Australia, this gorgeous, this woman was amazingly beautiful. She had the prettiest face, pretty smile, prettiest skin. I don't know what she was Italian or whatever she was, but she was an attractive woman. And she was telling me, she said, man, I'm leaving tomorrow. Man, I wish I could stay here longer with you. She said, you are amazing. You are so handsome. She said, you are the most beautiful man. Look at your teeth. I got crooked teeth. She's like, you got white teeth. Her friend said, you got the whitest teeth. Oh my God. She's like, look at your skin. Look at your body. She was just like mesmerized by me. I never heard that before. So what happened with them days, that's why when a lot of times when brothers came back from the Philippines and Vietnam, they were bringing women back because there was always a lot of dark-skinned men bringing Asian women or German women back or getting married and staying over there because The dark-skinned black man was not considered, well, the dark-skinned black person in general was not considered beautiful. If you was a male or woman, if you was dark-skinned, now if a girl was dark-skinned with a nice body, yeah. But a lot of times, if you were dark-skinned, that was the symbolism of being ugly, unless you had nice, soft hair. If you had thick hair like mine, and it was kind of thick, nah, you was considered ugly, and you wouldn't get no play. But see, black people, this is a trend for us now. Going to get a DNA, that's a thing. It's a trend. It's like the tattoos, how all of a sudden everybody got tattoos now. And to be real, in America, like years ago, if you had too many tattoos, certain jobs wouldn't hire you. They didn't care what color you were. If you had tattoos, especially if they were visible, man, a lot of jobs wouldn't hire you. A lot of jobs, you wouldn't get a chance to be at the jobs because of your tattoos. Now you got cops with whole orange tattoos. They're cops, but they have tattoos. And they don't care about that no more. Back in the days, they did. And so black people have jumped on the whole bandwagon of the DNA thing. And so they don't even question, well, why my Native American blood showing? And you know your Native American grandmother or grandfather or great-grand or great-grandmother. And these are the people that you actually met, that held you as a baby, that fed you before they died. They actually know who you were. And you're not gonna even question that they don't show up, the people that actually birthed you and raised you, and you know you're Native American, and you've met these relatives in your family, but your DNA don't show it. Something is wrong with that. And everybody used to brag about how they had Indian in their family. And now all of a sudden they bragging how they had African. But the same people who said they got African and all these tribes were saying that, man, Africans don't even like us. They don't like us. So if you like my content, please like, share. If you haven't subscribed to the channel. It's your boy, AJ, the Black World Traveler, and I am out.